So people have continuously asked me why I don't like the Star Wars prequels. Well, you're about to find out. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Welcome back to my Star Wars marathon. It's been a while. I've been trying to hide from the fact that I need to review these movies as well, and that required me to rewatch them again. That was painful. Star Wars Episode 1 is the first movie in the trilogy that takes place years before the original Star Wars trilogy. You know the story of how Anakin Skywalker turned to Darth Vader? Yeah, that's what these movies were supposed to show us. And a word of warning to all you guys, this video will contain spoilers. You have been warned. And before starting this review, I have to make use of a phrase that a fellow YouTuber, Chris Stuckman, made use of, phantom menacing. Because I was also a victim of phantom menacing, meaning even years after I saw that flick, I was in denial about how bad this movie actually was. I defended it. And at some point I was like, you know what? It's not that great. The movie starts and we have the classic Star Wars title rolling down the screen and you're like, it's back! It's back! The theme, it's back! The credits, it's all back! And looks awesome, right? But don't let yourself get fooled, because this movie was written and directed by George Lucas without any people telling him to stop. And it doesn't take long until we are exposed to the horrible dialogue of this movie.
How do you think this trade viceroy will deal with the Chancellor's demands?
These Federation types are cowards. The negotiations will be short.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
So basically, Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, and his master Qui-Gon Jinn, which is odd. Wasn't his master supposed to be Yoda? Who is Qui-Gon Jinn? Why is he even in the movie? But fuck it. They are supposed to sort out some shit with the Trade Federation because they have set up a blockade that cripples the planet of Naboo. However, they are under the control of a Sith Lord and his student, which leads us to the introduction of Natalie Portman's character. And funny enough, you see Queen Amidala talking in the trailer and you're like, yeah, sounds like a normal girl. But you hear her talk in the movie for the very first time and you're like, is this a guy? Seriously, George Lucas just has to fuck with everything. He even messed her voice up. Why? For no specific reason, because later on in the movie her voice returns to being normal. So our two Jedi heroes agree to protect Queen Amidala. And since they are being attacked by the Trade Federation and their pointless army of battle droids, they need to crash land on the planet of Tatooine. Turns out the droid that helped them is actually R2-D2. That's right, R2-D2 gets a cooler backstory than Darth Vader in this film, which is just one of the many problems with this movie. During an earlier trip, our two heroes stumbled upon a Gungan called Jar Jar Binks. And my lord, that is one of the most annoying characters ever put on any screen, and he's just not funny. He's actually racially offensive when you think of it. And yes, this movie seems to have been co-written by Michael Bay because of all the racially offensive stereotyping. The Trade Federation people are stereotyping Asian people. And we have this sort of anti-Semitic creature here.
My trick's gonna work on me. Only money.
Ooh. Anyways, upon arriving on Tatooine, they stumble upon the young boy Anakin Skywalker. And you know what? Going into this movie had one job: to establish the character of Anakin Skywalker, because the entire prequel saga was supposed to focus on Anakin. How did such a good guy turn into the most evil Sith Lord in the galaxy? So you need an actor that can evoke emotions like that. And who did they cast to play young Anakin Skywalker?
The Turboman accent figure with the arms and legs that move, and the rocket roaring jetpack, and the boomerang shooter.
Yeah, the kid from Jingle All the Way. Not only is his acting horrendous, but one thing that always bothered me about this movie: why is Anakin Skywalker a child in this film? It doesn't make sense. We're supposed to relate to him the same way that we once related to Luke Skywalker. So why not have him be a 20-year-old? After all, he's already a 20-year-old in the next film. So again, Doesn't make sense. And it turns out that Anakin Skywalker created C-3PO. Yes, that's right. Darth Vader created C-3PO. Why? So we have another toy to sell, because this movie is a commercial for toys. So Qui-Gon Jinn takes a blood sample from Anakin Skywalker and he's like, oh, your midichlorian count is really high. That's right, the Force. The one thing that we learned in the last movies was this mystical, big energy force that you had to believe in is a blood condition. So it's pretty much like this. Mr. Joseph Ari, we have your test results back. It appears that you are metachloric positive. Oh my, what? Oh my God. How am I gonna explain this to my wife? We've had unprotected sex. She's pregnant. No need to worry. I believe that we have very advanced medication. And at this point in time, I am not able to tell you if it will ever turn into full-blown Jedi-itis. You sure? Yep. It's that stupid. So after Qui-Gon talks to Anakin's mom, she's like, you know what? There was no father. I conceived him without, having had sex. Yes, that's right. Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader is Jesus Christ. They went there. Darth Vader.
Joy to the world. A Sith Lord is here.
So Qui-Gon takes on a bet with this anti-Semitic creatures, manages to free Anakin from slavery, but his mother stays behind. And this is the point where the student of the mysterious Sith Lord, who we all know is the future Emperor, attacks. And this is the one thing I love about this movie, Darth Maul. Darth Maul is a badass. He absolutely is. He just attacks them, he doesn't talk a lot, and I think this is one of the reasons why everyone loves him, because his character doesn't have a lot of lines of this horrible dialogue that this movie is just burdened with. And that's another thing, the movie is called The Phantom Menace, but what's so phantom about it? The only couple lines that Darth Maul has are pretty much, at last we'll have a revenge, at last we'll reveal ourselves to the Jedi. So he reveals himself from the get-go. It's not a real Phantom Menace, I'm sorry. This movie should have been called Battle for Naboo, because that's what it is. So after escaping from Darth Maul, our heroes now return to Coruscant, which is like the capital of the Republic. And finally, Anakin Skywalker is introduced to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was supposed to be the main character in the movie, but just isn't, because he sits out the entire second act. Oh, why? But don't worry, now we're introduced to trade negotiations. It's pretty much Palpatine going, give me power. And we're introduced to the Jedi Council. And I was looking forward to this. Yoda and Samuel L. Jackson was on all the promotional pictures. So I was like, oh, Sam Jackson is in this? So yeah, he will probably save the day. And it really breaks my heart because Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most charismatic actors in the business, who adds something to every character and every movie he was ever in, is the most boring person ever. And Yoda in this movie, first of all, the puppetry on this thing looks way worse than the way he looked in the originals. And second of all, Yoda is an asshole. And so are all the other Jedi Knights on that council. Because they don't do anything. They just sit around circling like, order pizza we should. Master Yoda, we just encountered a Sith Lord.
Thinking about that, I will. But first, fuck off.
Where is the funny Yoda? The enjoyable Yoda? He's just gone and I don't get that. I would understand if Yoda was bitter in the old ones because he lost all of his Jedi friends, the Republic is gone. No, but this is Yoda at his prime and he's an asshole, an unlikable asshole. But yeah, it gets even worse, because not only is Anakin Jesus Christ, no, there is an ancient prophecy, apparently, that he is the chosen one that will bring balance to the Force and destroy the Sith, and they really just made this shit up as they went along. Because back when you watched Return of the Jedi, Vader saves Luke's ass. This is why he kills the Emperor. Now it's all undone. No, he did it because there was a prophecy. So let me get this straight. He is the chosen one. And his chosen people, he lets them all die, has to have his entire body get burned and nearly watch his son getting toasted to death before he acts upon his destiny.
Not a great plan.
Thank you, Tony. And now we have our climax. And again, this climax is over convoluted because there's too much shit going on. Okay, I'll give the movie one thing. The final confrontation between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul is amazing. That is a sweet-ass choreography and better than any lightsaber duel we've seen in all the other movies. But it doesn't make up for the rest of the bullshit. The lack of story, the lack of characters, the lack of character developments. But at least we have a very enjoyable action sequence. But what I don't get is the entire sequence with little Anakin accidentally activating a spaceship and joining in the battle above Naboo. That's stupid. Second thing that also should have been cut is the entire battle between the Gungans and the droid army, which leads me to another thing. This movie is a CGI mess. The old trilogy is timeless because of its costume designs, its set designs, its practical effects. It's still tangible and real. And you can totally tell when you see that final battle between the Gungans and the droid army, which by the way is nothing but stupid slapstick, you can tell, oh, this looks like PlayStation. The only two things that do belong on the climax is Natalie Portman's character and her guards taking on the droids, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan facing Darth Maul. That's it. So yeah, Darth Maul ends up killing Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon Jinn is toast, and Obi-Wan takes on Darth Maul on his own. And that's a pretty cool choreography again. But the way Darth Maul dies is the most stupid thing ever. It's even more stupid than Boba Fett's death in Return of the Jedi. Darth Maul uses the Force to push Obi-Wan down a shaft. He's able to hold on to something, and instead of just killing him, Darth Maul goes like this. He just swings his lightsaber around for no apparent reason, giving Obi-Wan enough time to use the Force, get Qui-Gon's lightsaber and kill him. And after he's dead, we have Qui-Gon Jinn's funeral. And again, that scene bothers me as well. They burn him, you know, the way Luke burned Vader in Return of the Jedi. Apparently, that is the Jedi way to do it. Where did Luke learn that? Seriously, where and when? Because Yoda didn't teach him that on Dagobah. Obi-Wan didn't teach him that on Tatooine. Who did? We'll never know. Obi-Wan approaches Yoda and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna train this boy no matter what you say. And Yoda's like, okay. I was like, what? What? You were adamantly against it. You and your entire group of assholes. But now that Obi-Wan is putting his foot down for the very first time, you're like, okay. So yeah, to sum it all up, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace was not only a bad Star Wars movie, but a bad movie in general. At no point did I feel like I was watching an actual Star Wars movie, but the film does have a couple positive elements, believe it or not. The soundtrack, as always, is terrific. And that is a big plus, because I'm still rocking that soundtrack. That Duel of the Fates theme, oh my god, brilliant. The stunt choreography and the action in this movie is actually quite impressive. But everything else is sort of just bland and stupid. The characters are not fleshed out whatsoever. Darth Vader is a kid and played by a very bad kid actor. Liam Neeson's in the film and he gives his best. But then again, why is he the main character? Because look at it. Look at this movie and tell me who's the main character. It's probably Liam Neeson. Why, when his character shouldn't even be in this movie? Ewan McGregor, I will give him that. Ewan McGregor is the one actor that I liked in all of the three movies. Because if I had to picture young Alec Guinness, young Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm like, that's a pretty good guess. But other than that, this movie just disappoints to no end. Which is why Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace doesn't get a medal at all. Because Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is a time stealer. So Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe.